How you doing, everybody? Jonathan here, and in this video I'm going to go over how to properly spot your clients, which is going to be a very important skill because I often see a lot of trainers touching their clients the wrong way, and the last thing you want to do is offend a client by touching them because they may be sensitive, but you still want to make sure to keep their form correct. So there are a couple of exercises that generally need a lot of spotting, which is going to be the squat, any exercise in the hip hinge, specifically the dumbbell row, and the bicep curl. So we're going to go over how to properly spot your client, and let's get to it. So when you're fixing form with any exercise of your client, you want to try to do so verbally first. You want to try to be so verbally thorough that when you're explaining the exercises that they understand without you having to touch them. You touch them only when you have to. All right, so the first deficiency that you'll see is going to be the knees coming in inward. So if you face the camera, give me a squat with the knees coming inward. The first thing that you can do is you can actually model. So give me 2 more squats. I'm then going to tell my client, hey, Crystal, I see that your knees are coming in inward, so I'll have her step away. So you can step away. And then you're going to tell them, your knees are coming inward like this. All right? We want to actually push our knees out on the way down. So we're going to push our knees out as we come down in our squat. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is going to model for them so they can see what it's supposed to look like. Now, let's say, for instance, that the form is still bad. So I just modeled. Crystal, go back to your squat. And then your client still might not get it. They're going to do their squat and their knees are still going inward. All right, so what you're going to do is you can essentially stand in front of your client, and now you're going to tell your client to make sure that their knees touch your hands on the way down. All right, so I'm going to put my hands just outside of her knees. All right, and as she squats, good, I'm going to have her try to touch her hands, her knees to my hands rather, as she stands. All right, so I'm going to give her a point to try to reach out to. Okay. I usually have a ball behind the client so I can have the client reach their butt back to make contact with the ball, all right? But if you don't have a ball, or even if you do, you might find clients trying to squat this way. Now their knees are going to go over their toes. So how are we going to fix that? Now, Crystal, let's go with the squat facing the flag wall, same position I was in, with the knees facing the toes, with the knees over the toes. So give me one bad squat the way that I just did it. Good. Now, sometimes the trainer will actually try to make contact, like they'll touch the client's butt. You don't want to do that. Stand up. So if you have a situation where the client's knees are going past the toes, you'd actually be better off. You always want to touch a bone, all right? You never want to touch flesh. Second, you want to use your palm. You don't want to use your fingers because blunt force or a blunt contact, this with your palm feels very different than this with your hands because essentially you're grabbing, gives that sensation that you might be trying to control them. We're really just trying to fix them. So if you have bad form, you can tell your client, all right, take a step forward, Crystal. And now focusing on her knee, I'm actually going to put my hand in front of her toe. All right, so even when her knees try to come forward, so try to give me a knees too far forward, I'll stop her knees, and then she'll be forced, I can catch her from behind, she'll be forced to sit back. All right, so you also want to make sure to keep your hand behind, preferably at the upper back instead of the butt. You don't want to touch your client's butt accidentally. All right, so the next deficiency you'll see is your client not being able to get their butt back. So essentially they'll be standing over the ball, so you can actually straddle the ball, good, and then just squat straight down. Good. It's hard for you to do a bad squat. Here, I'll demonstrate. I'll demonstrate so you can see what a bad squat is supposed to look like. All right. So sometimes your clients will just come straight down on their ball, and it's almost hard to do, but they figure out a way. Their knees are, again, going straight ahead of them, and their butts are coming straight down. So another way to fix that is to push their hips backwards. All right. Crystal, if you would assume the position over at the ball. So usually the best way that I found to get their hips backwards is to guide their hips. You're going to tell your client to counterbalance put their arms out in front for balance because your hips are going to come back. You're essentially going to stick your butt way back. And to help the client along, I'm going to put my hand on her hip bone. All right, the hip bone right to the outside. All right, as soon as you get toward the flesh, that's when it starts to feel uncomfortable. So if it feels soft, you're probably making your client feel uncomfortable. You wouldn't want a relative stranger to touch you there. All right, also, I'm only going to use 2 fingers, and anytime I'm getting near that area, I'm always going to announce, all right, I'm going to put my hands on your hips so you know exactly how to get your hips back. So take a step forward. Another step forward. I'm going to protect my client by having my hand behind, all right? And then what I want you to do is I want you to stick your hips back and keep your chest up. Good. And then squat down and then stand. Good. Again, hand on the hip, push back, and then stand. After they get 2 repetitions, you're going to ask, do you understand this? Do you have this? If they say yes, then there's no need to touch a client anymore. You continue to just verbally cue and encourage as you go. All right? So the next deviation that you'll see with the squat is going to be an excessive forward lean, where the client is leaning way over and their chest is almost parallel to the floor. So, Crystal, if you show me an excessive forward lean, clients will squat like that, right? And sometimes they'll accompany that with knees going past the toes. If you want to fix that, you can instead use your Swiss ball. So the Swiss ball is going to go against the wall. I'm going to put this on the small of my client's back instead of on their upper back, because as they squat down, they'll then have to support their body weight on their head. So, the ball's going to go against the wall. Good. It's in the small of her back. All right. And now she's going to squat down. You're going to encourage your client to keep their chest up. So inhale down. Good. Exhale up. And Crystal actually did something without even me saying it. You actually want your feet a little bit further forward to make sure that their hips come back on the way down. All right. Thank you, Crystal. So inhaling down. Exhaling up. And in this situation, you don't even need to touch the client. This will force them to keep their chest up. So those are a couple of things that we see with the squat that could use fixing. If your clients struggle with this, you can definitely use these modifications and spot your clients correctly. So that's about it. I hope you found this video helpful. I'll be following this up with how to properly spot your clients on a hip hinge with a dumbbell row and the exercise that a lot of clients get wrong, the basic dumbbell curl. So stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. And as always, remember to eat healthy, hydrate, drive safe, stress levels low, get rest, don't slap anybody. Love your clients. They will love you back. I'll see you all tomorrow or the next day, and you have a good one. All right, so we have our entire workout space set up for the 4x3 on week 1. The 4 exercises that we're going to do the standing burpee. We're then going to go to the seated dumbbell row. We're then going to go to the push-ups, and then we're going to go over to the jump rope. In the next series, we're going to go for the bicep curls, ladders, high knees, broad jumps, and then wall sit. So as you see, you don't need a lot of space to set up a 4x3 for personal training. Use it over here, and you can enter in the amount of repetitions that your client is accumulating. We're now on set number 4. Crystal can grab her jump rope and jump rope in place. If not, she can do invisible jump ropes. Just pretend that she has a jump rope in place and then jump in place. Or she could face the camera and she could do jumping jacks. For the sake of this workout, she's going to be facing that way, and then she's going to be doing jump 2 seconds, time. All right, so now we're back to round number 9. We're back to where we started. We got 1 set left at each station. So we got 5 seconds till we start, and let's go. Bicep curls, legs are straight, back is straight, butt is squeezed, thighs are squeezed, abs are squeezed. Less than 5 seconds left, less than 2 seconds, and time. So that's the end of the workout, all right? The workout is over. That's how you go through your 4x3, and then you essentially take your client through the cool down session. We're okay, Crystal? Yes, so you can go over to the cool down session and administer that after you finish your 4x3.